Hi there and welcome to this beginner yoga series. So in this first video, we're really going to focus in on the breath. So the breath is the most important part of yoga practice. So sometimes in kind of public classes or lots of online videos, it's a part of the practice that can get a little bit rushed or sometimes even overlooked. So it's really important to differentiate yoga from other types of exercise. So there's a lot more going on in yoga than at first meets the eye. So obviously when we think of yoga, we think possibly of some complicated shapes that we make with the body. We understand that it helps us with flexibility, and we understand that it helps us to build up strength. There's also a lot more going on behind the scenes. So in every pose, in every posture, which we call asana in yoga, there is also a lot happening with energetics. And these energetic changes really depend on us breathing and breathing correctly. So with the way that I like to teach yoga is always starting with the breath. So making sure that we've established that part of the practice as a really solid foundation. This also means that if you are kind of starting from a position of a lack of flexibility, feeling quite stiff, or maybe even you've got some injuries that prevent you from doing some of the postures, you can still be doing yoga because you can still be joining in with the breath. And for most people, when they start their yoga practice, the breath is the part of the practice that they love the most. It gives them that sense of relaxation, rejuvenation, and detox as well. So we're going to begin our practice today lying down. So I've got quite a thick mat here because I'm on floorboards, so you might find that you want to do the same. So maybe using a thick yoga mat or a blanket if you don't have a yoga mat yet, just something that's going to make it comfortable for you to lie down on the floor. Okay, so in terms of things that you're going to need for your practice today, it's absolutely nothing, just yourself. Wear some clothing that's comfortable for you to move in. And like I said, just have something underneath you that's going to be supportive and padded for you today. Okay, so we're going to go on and lie down. So starting in a position where you're on your back, we're going to set the feet to the width of the mat and we're going to allow the knees to knock together. And then you're just going to rest your head down onto the mat. So we're actually going to start with our hands onto the belly. And it's up to you if you want to close your eyes, if you find that makes you concentrate a little bit more than you can. However, if you're feeling a little bit snoozy, you might want to keep your eyes open if you're in danger of falling asleep. So the first thing that I'd like you to do is just see if you can get your body to begin to soften and melt into the mat beneath you. One of the first things that I like to do in my own yoga practice when I'm teaching is just try and establish a sense of mindfulness. So you might feel as you're lying here that your mind is quite busy and that there's maybe a bit of a disconnect between your mind and your body. So let's try and remove some of that initial busyness and noise of the mind by taking some nice big breaths into the belly, breathing through the nose, and big sighs out the mouth. Take a big breath into the belly, big sigh out the mouth. So just keep going with that practice. And with every sighing exhalation, just feeling yourself letting go of that busyness in the mind. And this is also really helpful for beginning to relax through the jaw and the muscles of the face. So now for the rest of our breathing practice, you can either stay with your legs in this position. So if you've got lower back issues or you have like a sway back or lordosis of the lower spine, you might prefer to stay in this position. However, you can also start in legs out long. Just allow your toes to fall away from each other. And you can also bring soles of the feet together and allow your knees to come out to the side. So this is a nice way of beginning to stretch the inner thighs, open up through the hips as well. And then now you can either keep your hands to your belly if you found that helpful to connect with your breath, or you can allow your palms to turn upwards and allow that nice opening to happen through the chest. Again, you can close the eyes if you find that helpful to focus on your breathing. So for today's session, we're going to concentrate on what's called 3-part breaths. This is a really helpful introduction to start taking deeper and longer breaths. So we can really struggle with that in the beginning if we're new to yoga and just new to this kind of awareness of the breath. So we start to notice how short and shallow our breaths are throughout the day. So the first part is we take a nice long breath in, and I want you to feel your breath all the way down into your low belly. So as you breathe in, feel the belly beginning to expand. And as you exhale, just release the breath nice and slowly from the body. And we're going to breathe in again to the belly. And exhale, release the breath. So just stay with this practice, so concentrating your mind, your breath, to that low belly area. Looking for that expansion. And as you exhale, just letting the breath be released from the belly. So we're aiming to do this with the mouth closed, breathing in and out through the nose. However, if you've got congestion or you're recovering from a cold, that might not be an option and you might need to breathe through your mouth. So you adjust your breathing to suit you today. We're then going to share the breath. So we breathe to the belly first. And then I want you to feel your breath travel from your belly into your rib cage. So feel the rib cage widening on those inhalations now. And as you exhale, release the breath from the rib cage and then from the belly. We breathe into the belly, to the rib cage. And we exhale from the rib cage, from the belly. So the third part of the breath, moving the breath all the way up into the chest. So breathe down to your belly first. Feel the breath move into your ribs, widening. And then feel the breath all the way up into your chest. And we want to feel that broadening of the collarbones. And as you exhale, we release the breath from the chest, from the rib cage, from the belly. So see if you can make your inhalations and exhalations last the same amount of time. And you're noticing these habits of the breath, so maybe we take a big breath in and then a really short breath out. So you want that equanimity with the breath. So nice big breath in, belly, rib, cage, chest. Breathing out, chest, rib cage, belly. We're going to take 2 more rounds of breath, so keep that focus on the 3 parts to the breath. And then if you've got your legs out to the side, start to scoop your knees back in together. And we're going to all meet, depending on how you had your legs, tucking those knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a little hug in, hands to the top of the shins, and then just a little bit of rocking from side to side. Okay, so from here we're going to roll to the side. So traditionally we roll to the right hand side. However, if you've got low blood pressure, roll to your left hand side. Pause there for a moment and then use your hand pressing into the floor to bring yourself up. And we're going to come into a seated position. Okay, so one of the kind of tricky things in yoga, most people say, is sitting cross-legged. So don't feel at all pressured to sit in this way if it doesn't suit you. This might be something that we can build on over time once the hips get a little bit more open. We'll develop more flexibility in the legs in general. However, we might have injuries or the way that our bones are set, which means that we may never be able to sit cross-legged. So find a way that suits you. We're just going to do a little bit more breathing and we're going to do a bit of movement. So quite often people prefer to just bring their legs out in front and sit that way. You can also sit up on a blanket if you feel that you're kind of crunching into your lower back. So you can sit like that, or you can sit with your soles of the feet together, or any other way that kind of suits you best. The most important thing is sitting in a way where the spine can really lengthen, where we can have the shoulders resting down the back, and where we can concentrate once again on the breath. So once you've found that nice seated shape, I want you to close your eyes. Bow your head down slightly, chin towards chest. And we're just going to practice the same breathing that we were doing before, but now concentrating on the breath now that we're in this upright position. So we still want to breathe down into the belly. Feel the breath move up into those lungs, all the way into the chest, and then exhaling from the chest, from the lungs, from the belly. So we're almost starting to feel like the torso is this balloon that's being inflated with the inhales. So looking for that big expansion. And as you exhale, that deflation of the balloon. So everything draws back in. So inhale, look for expansion, create space. Then exhale, looking for that deflation. So see if you can take away any strain from your breath. So particularly when we're starting out with yoga, we can really force the breath. It can feel very unnatural, and then everything gets a little bit tense in the body. So we want to try and make this feel as natural as possible. So remember that our body is designed to breathe in this way. We're meant to take really deep, long breaths. This is our life force energy that we're drawing into the body. So it's almost like we're having to get out of our own way, because it's our habits that have created this short and shallow chest, top of the chest breathing. So try not to strain the breath. You'll notice if you are, the neck will become really tense, we'll clench the jaw, we'll be frowning. So try and soften everything. And once again, we're just focusing on that expansion on the inhale. Releasing the breath on the exhale. Good. So what we're going to do now is try and link that 3-part breath with a little bit of simple movement. So starting off with the arms. We're going to take the arms out to the side, palms facing forward. So again, you can do this with the legs out long or any other way that's comfortable for you. We're just moving the arms to start off with. So as you inhale, I want you to feel your breath in the belly. And then you feel your breath in the rib cage as the arms come up about shoulder height. You want to keep the breath going all the way into the chest as you bring the palms of the hands together and look up. And then we exhale from the chest, from the lungs, from the belly. Okay, so that's quite a long breath. Your movement might be a little bit shorter. So we inhale belly, lungs, chest. We exhale from the chest, from the lungs, from the belly. Good, so flowing with that, maybe going at your own pace if your breath is quite short. We'll take 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. And last one. Inhale. And exhale. So we're going to add on a side bend movement to that. So we're going to inhale as you did before, so nice big breath, palms of the hands together. Now as you exhale, release your left hand to the mat and take your right arm up and over. So we're getting a little side bend. Good. As you inhale, come back through center, bring the palms of the hands together. And we exhale, right hand comes down and the left arm reaches up and over. And we're just going to flow with that. So inhale, palms of the hands together, sit up nice and tall. Exhale to your side stretch. Good. Inhale, coming back up, reach it up. Exhale, stretch. Good. Inhale through center. Now this time we're going to exhale and we're going to hold there and see if we can find a little bit more length through that side body. So try not to allow your hips to lift up off the mat. We want to keep sit bones grounded and try not to hunch into your shoulders, so top of the shoulders down. If your neck feels quite stiff, I would prefer you to look down at your hand rather than looking up. And then on your next breath in, press into that bottom hand, draw yourself back up. Good, and then exhale to the other side. And again, we're going to hold here. See if we can lengthen into that side body a little bit more. But keep the breath. So notice how quickly the breath disappears. Good. And then inhale back through center. And exhale, hands back down to the side. Good. So we're going to add in a twist now with this pose. So twisting is really, really good for detoxification. It's good to get the breath into the nooks and crannies of the body that it doesn't normally get to. So we're going to go nice and gently. So I wrote a blog about this the other day. I'm not a big fan of strong detox practices in January. We're still in the middle of winter and the body really needs us to be kind and gentle. So we're just going to do soft twists just to get a little bit of extra life force energy going through the body, but nothing too extreme. Okay, so again, legs can be out long to do this. So we start again, palms facing forward. We're going to breathe in and reach the arms up, looking for that length. And then we're going to bring the right arm across the body and the left hand back behind you. So you take a little twist, keeping your hips and your pelvis facing forward, not twisting your lower back. And then looking over, if it feels comfortable to do so, that left shoulder. Good. We're going to inhale, come back through center, again, grow really tall. And we're going to exhale and take the twist the other way, looking over your right shoulder. So we're going to flow with that. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, twist. Keeping that pelvis nice and anchored. Inhale, stretch it up. And exhale, twist. Good. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, twist, and we're going to hold here. So on your inhale, see if you can sit up a little bit taller, lift the crown of your head. And on your exhales, can you just gently pull belly to spine, twist a little further. You might feel this in the back of the shoulder blades. Try and breathe as deep as you can. It's harder to breathe in twists, but it's important to get that breath in there. On your next breath in, we come back through center, reach up, and we're going to exhale and twist to the other side. And again, we're going to hold there. So as you inhale, grow tall through the spine. And as you exhale, twisting round, belly draws gently back towards the spine, nothing too strong for today. Keep breathing. Lovely, and next inhale, reach it up. Good, and exhale, bring it back down. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is that breath, 3-part breath now, synchronized with what's called cat and cow poses. So in most yoga classes, most yoga videos, you'll see cat-cow. It's one of the best stretches really to loosen up the spine, get the breath moving, and just start to get the body a little bit more mobile. So we do this position on the hands and the knees. So if you know straight off the bat that you cannot be on your knees, or you've got arthritis in the wrists and you can't be on your hands, you're very, very welcome to do cat-cow in a seated position. So if I show you from the side, you can do it cross-legged or legs out in front, or you can either have some of my students that will sit on a chair to do this as well. Okay, so what you would do is just the spine movement of this posture as opposed to being onto the hands and the knees. So what it would look like is the inhale, you begin to arch the spine, lift the chest and look up. And as you exhale, you begin to pull the tummy in and press the shoulders behind you, chin curls to chest. And then you just do the same. So inhale, we arch, we look up. If it feels okay in the neck, if it doesn't, just look straight ahead. And then exhale, curl it back in. Okay, so that's going to be your variation of cat-cow. You're still getting exactly the same movement in the spine, but you're taking the pressure off the joints. If you're okay to be on the hands and the knees, we're going to come into what's called tabletop position first. And we want to look for alignment of knees under hips. We want wrists underneath the shoulders, and then heels in line with the knees. Okay, so everybody's bodies are different. Some people prefer to be on the flats of the feet for this. Other people like to tuck the toes. If you've got sensitivity in your knees, you can bring a blanket underneath the knees for this. And you can also roll your mat over a few times and place it under the wrists. Okay. So one thing that I'm always going on about in my classes is hyperextension. People with hypermobility. So please be really, really careful in any position when you're on your hands to not lock your elbows out. So I have hypermobility and I've got a really strong habit of doing this. I have to really check myself. So we don't lock the joints, we don't force the bones. Keep a softness, maybe even exaggerate that a lot if you know that you have hypermobility. Okay, we just don't want to be putting that much pressure on the joints, and also we don't develop any inner strength in the body if we're just relying on the skeleton in that way. So soften those elbows and press more into the fingertips and the knuckles of the hands. So we've got connection through the hands. Okay, so for the inhale, we lift the tailbone, we arch the back and we begin to look forward. I'm not a big fan of throwing the head back. I don't think it's nice for the neck. So just look straight ahead, slightly up if it feels okay. And as you exhale, pull belly in and then tuck chin to chest. So we're looking for that 3-part breath. So inhale, belly, rib cage, chest. We're going to exhale from the chest, from the rib cage, from the belly. So inhale, belly, rib cage, chest. Exhaling from chest, from rib cage, from belly. I'm going to take one more. So nice big breath in. See if you can get a little bit more movement through the spine. And then exhale. Bring yourself back into that cat arch. And then back to neutral spine. So from here we're going to come into our resting posture, child's pose. So release the tops of the feet. We're going to bring the knees to the width of the mat. And then just nice and slowly bring the tailbone back towards the heels. Stretch the arms out in front and bring the head down. So you can make this pose a little bit more active by pressing into your hands like you're trying to push the floor away from you, and then really bringing the tailbone down towards the heels. If it feels like the floor is too far away, you can grab a rolled up blanket or a cushion and place it underneath the forehead. Try and send your breath now to the back of the body, so breathe into the space between the shoulder blades. And as you exhale, can you release your rib cage a little bit closer towards the floor? begin to bring yourself back up. We're going to come back up onto the hands and the knees. So we're going to take one more posture in this little sequence, and then we're going to come down for some relaxation. So we're going to take a pose called puppy pose, which is a foundation posture for downward facing dog. So this is an alternate to downward facing dog if you can't do that pose or you're building up to it. It's a really nice place to start. It's also a really, really good chest opener and shoulder release as well. So we come back up onto the hands and the knees, and then we're going to bring our hands to the top of the mat. And then you slowly start to release your chest towards the floor. So again, if you want a bit of help, cushion underneath the forehead might feel really, really nice. And we just hold here, keep releasing the chest down, keep breathing. Take one more breath. Start to lift the face first, bring yourself back up onto the hands, walk those hands back in. From here we're just going to transition onto the side, and then we're going to bring ourselves back down onto our backs. Okay, so just beginning back in that little curled up shape, so bringing hands onto shins, hugging the knees in, and just giving those legs a bit of a rock from side to side. Bringing the feet down to the mat about hip width apart, hands out to the side about 45 degrees away from the body, and we're just going to windscreen wipe the knees, so taking the knees over to the left, turning and looking to the right. Bringing the knees through centre, taking knees over to the right and looking to the left. So just going with that, the pace of your breath, so just trying to get a bit of release for the hips and the lower back. And bringing knees and feet back through centre. And then any of those options from the beginning of the class you can take. So feet can go wide, knees can knock together. Feet can come together, knees out wide. Or you can take your legs out long. Just making sure that your spine feels comfortable. So again, if you've got a big arch in the back, you might want to just lift up, place the tailbone under. You can make this extra comfy if you want to bring a cushion under the head, a pillow or rolled up towel underneath the back of the knees can feel really nice. And then bringing the palms to face up. You're just going to close the eyes. So the other really important part of yoga practice is this part at the end. So we call the pose Savasana. It's also called final resting pose or final relaxation. So sometimes again it's a part of the yoga practice that can be skipped. And it's really important not to do that. So I spoke at the very beginning of the class about energetics and about moving prana through the body with the breath and with the different poses. So Savasana is the part of the practice where all of those changes that we've made in each posture, with all the breathing, it's the part of the practice where all of those changes get absorbed into the body. So it's really important not to rush off your mat, but give yourself this little time, even if it's a few moments, to rest the body. It's also a really important part of the practice for getting that sense of relaxation, of peace and calm and stillness. So just let your body become really heavy on your mat. Almost feel as if the floor, the earth beneath you is coming up to support you. And let your breath return to its natural rhythm, so you don't need to control your breath anymore. And just let your mind rest at that space between the eyebrows. And just scan through your body, so from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet. Just feel in your body if there's anywhere that feels like it's gripping or holding on to tension. Can you encourage that part of your body to just relax, soften and let go? Then we just begin to bring some small movements back to the body. So wriggling through the fingers and the toes, and maybe circling through the ankles and the wrists. It's always really nice to do a full body stretch after Savasana, so reach the arms up overhead, stretch the legs, point the toes, big breath to the belly, big sigh out the mouth. Again, we're going to draw those knees in towards the chest. Give yourself that little hug in and gentle rock from side to side. And same as we did at the start, you can either roll to the left or the right hand side. And once you do that, let yourself rest there in that recovery position. And then gently, when you feel ready to, pressing yourself up, coming into that seated position once again. So a seated position of your choice, remembering it doesn't have to be cross-legged. And we're just going to finish the practice today with 3 more rounds of breathing. So we're going to draw the palms to face the front. We're going to take a big breath in, extend the arms overhead, bring hands together in prayer. And we're going to exhale, bring the prayer all the way down the central line of the body. Inhale, reach it up, looking for that expansion. And then exhale, bringing that breath down the center. Good, last one, inhale. And exhale. Resting the hands now at the heart space in Anjali Mudra, gesture of the heart. We tip the forehead to the fingertips, drop those shoulders down the back and close the eyes. And I just want you to feel into your body the differences or the small changes that you've created with your practice today. You might feel the breath is moving more easily. You might feel that your mind feels a little bit more calm and settled. Your body feels a little bit more stretched, maybe lengthened. So just enjoying those benefits of the yoga practice. Being really grateful to yourself for giving yourself this time, and for also starting out on this journey with yoga. So now to close our practice, we take a big breath in, and as we exhale, we bow forward and seal our practice. So it's just that gesture of humility, gesture of gratitude. And then we come up, and we finish the practice with that beautiful word, Namaste. So Namaste, dear yogis. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. Please, if you've got any questions or feedback or anything, leave your questions in the comment section below and I will try and get back to you as soon as possible. And I will see you for our next video. Okay, thank you very much.